Hello and welcome to Strive Dialogues. Today we are going to discuss about Pakistan's economic quandary, as the flyer says, यानी कि पाकिस्तान की गफलत जहाँ तक इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन है उसकी और इम्पैक्ट जो उसके ऊपर है चाइना का 25 बिलियन डॉलर लोन का, जो कि उसका पार्ट ऑफ द कंपोनेंट है। वो ऐसे तो टोटल खर्चा जो सीपेक पे हुआ है, द एक्सपेंडिचर हैज बीन around 66 billion. So what is the impact of this particular loan on Pakistan? We have with us to discuss this Mr. Bipindra, the Eurasian Time editor. So welcome to the show.
So thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be on your show, sir.
Today we will have a quick discussion and a short program because we are only focusing on one issue, which is the CPEC. How has the CPEC made the life of Pakistan so bad, especially in the economic terms, and which is having an impact on its overall health of the nation, as also its preparation for. Just a minute, I think. Uh, as also its preparation for, I mean, its well-being of the nation. So over to you. We're not going to take much time. Just
Right,
give us a overview of the impact of CPEC on the on Pakistan.
right, sir. Sir, I would say that currently Pakistan is a country that is facing economic ruin, and it's already awaiting a monumental financial default
Mm-hmm.
because of long overdue structural reforms that various global creditors like International Monetary Fund and World Bank have asked it to do. That
Okay.
also includes some bilateral partners who have asked Pakistan to do some structural reforms so that they are able to pay back the global creditors whatever debt that they have. But
These these bilateral partners, sir. Who are these bilateral partners of Pakistan?
essentially, China is the major,
Okay.
biggest partner, bilateral partner that we are talking about. So,
Okay.
because of this poor credit rating that they have, and also of because of the high debt sustainability risks that they have, and they also have a very weak macroeconomic situation at this point in time. So, the
Okay.
creditors have been explicitly asking, for reform so that the money that is given to Pakistan by these international creditors does not
Mm-hmm.
evaporate due to corruption that is prevalent within Pakistan. So
Okay.
essentially, Pakistan's woes come from the staggering debt levels that they have. As of 2023, sir, the
Mm-hmm.
amount of debt that they have, external that they have, is about $125 billion, US
Oh,
dollars,
okay.
uh, and one third of it has
It's
to
China.
go to China. They owe it to China, which is about 40 billion,
40
45
billion.
billion dollars. 40 to 45 billion dollars is what they
Okay.
they owe at this point in time. So essentially, what it points out to is the Pakistan getting caught in the much talked about debt trap diplomacy of Beijing,
Mm-hmm.
which has been accused of implementing its debt trap diplomacy across Asia and Africa,
Correct.
essentially in pursuit of its own neo-colonial ambitions. So,
Correct.
a lot of experts have talked about this financial clout that Beijing exerts,
Mm-hmm.
flexing its muscle and burdening the vulnerable countries both in Asia and in Africa,
Okay.
which also have large populations, and they also have ever rising infrastructure and financial gap. uh,
Okay.
China lends billions of dollars to this country, and these are vulnerable countries, and because of which they essentially don't have financial clout themselves to take care of infrastructure projects and issues like that for development of the country, which is being misused by Beijing to put them into the debt trap that it pursues. So, what has happened is, with regard to Pakistan specifically, what has happened is that the CPEC project, the China
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan Economic Corridor project under the much touted Transcontinental Belt and Road Initiative of China.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so, what have they done is that they have dished out almost $840 billion to across 165 countries,
Okay.
because of which these lower and middle income countries have accumulated about $385 billion US dollars in hidden debts. So
Okay.
essentially, so that is what has happened. And
Mm-hmm.
specifically to CPEC, Pakistan. So Pakistan joined BRI in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
and the estimated cost of CPEC was at that time was about $45 billion. So
Okay.
currently it tops about $62 billion, and I mean the cost has increased over the
Yes,
years to about $62
I
billion
believe
dollars, which you mentioned
correct.
right currently.
Correct.
So the project cost of CPEC, Pakistan component in CPEC, is
Mm-hmm.
reported to be over $25 billion, which is about almost 35 to 40% of the entire. I mean, almost 45% of the entire cost of CPEC at 2023, debt status as of now. So
Correct.
Islamabad owes much of its financial capital essentially to Chinese creditors, and they have to be paying this much money upfront, up to
Correct.
about $25 billion have to be paid upfront. Thereby making it the most significant contributor to Pakistan's external debt accumulation that has happened in the last 10 years or so. Essentially, what China does is that when it brings in money to CPEC sort of projects, they put conditions. Only Chinese companies will have to be hired for doing these kind of work. Only the Chinese nationals will be monitoring the project. So these kind of conditions are being put by China on Pakistan. So what has essentially happened is that the uh, the credit that China gives is given through what is called as the infrastructure and energy investments. So, however, if you look at it, both infrastructure and energy are the ones which are conspicuous, in the entire CPEC project, essentially. Um, and Beijing's investments in Pakistan constitute both loans and grants,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially it was promoted by the military establishment in Pakistan, which is, as they say, it is the Pakistan Army which has a government, which has a
Yes.
state to rule.
Correct.
So they are the ones who are dictating the terms to Pakistan civilian government to avail of these loans from China, and these loans were essentially flat commercial rates
Mm-hmm.
at over 7% is the commercial interest rates on which these are dished out by China, whereas
Correct.
the financial lenders like IMF and World Bank, International Monetary and World Bank, they generally lend it out at around 2%. So that is the contrast at which the Chinese credit is given to Pakistan at such high commercial rates. Um, you know, this is what has thrown Pakistan into this debt spiral, essentially, making it difficult for Islamabad to do its debt servicing at the right time. So they're going to be defaulting very badly, essentially, very soon. This debt accumulation, which is quite vicious at this point in time, has reached such levels that the debt servicing by Pakistan, even interest rates they have not been able to pay on the principal borrowings that they have done from essentially China. So here I want to point out what happened with Ambantota in Sri Lanka. So in
Mm-hmm.
Ambantota, when Sri Lanka could not repay on time, what the Chinese essentially did was to force the hand of Sri Lankans to give away the Ambantota port for a 99-year lease, to compensate for the debt default that they have done. So, in the case of Pakistan, around I mentioned about $45 billion is the accumulated Chinese debt at this point in time. Even at 5% rate, if you calculate the interest component of the debt that they've accumulated, that alone comes to about $2 billion. Even if you calculate it at a a minimum rate of commercial rate of 5%. So in many projects it is 7%. We'll calculate it at 5%, and it comes to about $2 billion at this point in time. So
So
for instance, yeah, yes sir,
I have a question here.
yes sir,
The IMF gave them $3 billion.
yes sir,
I mean, initially they released 1.2, and then they said that okay, the entire 3 billion, which was the balance of the 6 billion IMF loan which they had sanctioned,
yeah,
or IMF grant which they had sanctioned, they will release it. So we assume that the 3 billion has been given to Pakistan. उसको
correct.
3 बिलियन मिल गया है. उसके
Hmm.
अलावा उसका foreign exchange was I think about 2-3 billion. So
Yeah,
that yeah, it was around 4 billion, but let's take it to about 3.5 billion as of now. So
right,
all in all, it had about 6.5 billion or 6 billion foreign exchange with it
right,
to sustain itself. So
correct.
अगर उसमें से चाइना का ही 2 बिलियन खाली इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट देना
सिर्फ
हुआ,
सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट, या 2 बिलियन
और
इज सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट.
एंड दी आईएमएफ का भी इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट पहले से भी आईएमएफ लोन दिए जा रहा है, तो उसका भी तो काफी 125 में से 45 बिलियन अगर निकाल दो तो बैलेंस 80 बिलियन का भी तो इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट लग रहा होगा.
एब्सोल्युटली, उसका भी कंपोनेंट है.
So the entire money which it has got
या
would have gone into probably debt
वन,
service only.
probably it is going to debt servicing and essentially interest servicing.
Yes, interest
Yeah,
servicing.
the
So
principal still gets needs to be serviced. So that is
so
the
how,
situation at this point.
so how is Pakistan surviving now? Because soon this 6 billion will also get over. What
Correct.
will it do now? अभी उसके पास रास्ता क्या है? What is the way for Pakistan? And what do you think are the Chinese thinking now at this stage to extract? You see, they have given, I believe, as per your, you've written a fantastic article. As per your article only, US dollar 385 billion is its hidden debts across the world,
Yeah, that is across the world. Yeah.
which China has given. So China has to get back its money.
Oh
Hambantota,
yes.
yes, Hambantota, it got a port. How is it going to recover from Pakistan? So
So
these two questions, could you answer? How will
yes
Pakistan
sir.
survive,
Yes
and
sir.
how will China extract its pound of flesh?
Yeah. So the Gwadar port possibly is a target
Likely
for
casualty.
likely target to be taken on 99-year lease or whatever
Okay,
the terms
okay,
that China will dictate. So that is
okay.
essentially one possibility, and also it is quite possible that what they did with POK, one part of POK was given away to
Seeding.
yeah. So similar ceding of more territory in the POK region to essentially to safeguard China's strategic interests in that region could
you you
happen.
you have brought out a very interesting point that it is likely to cede certain territory, and
Yes,
obviously the territory would be adjoining Xinjiang, because for it the problem is Xinjiang, because
correct.
infiltration, etc. It has a Uyghur insurgency going around in China, so
Yes, sir.
it would be a territories adjacent to the Chinese boundary, which would be
Exactly.
essentially Gilgit-Baltistan upper reaches.
Absolutely, sir. These are two possibilities, and
Now,
essentially, yeah,
this will create a legal problem as far as India is concerned, because India, as such, has been raising voice against any kind of a intervention into Gilgit-Baltistan. So,
yes,
how do you see now? I mean, this is a very interesting scenario which we have built. बहुत बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सिनारियो हो गया है. छोटे से डिस्कशन की बात कर रहे थे, बट ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात निकल के आ गई आपकी आपकी वजह से. अगर सीलिंग कर रहा है, इंडिया का रिस्पॉन्स क्या होगा, और through your journalistic experience, what will be India's response? What is going to be Pakistan's response, Pakistan military खास तौर से, और उनकी internal public के ऊपर क्या असर होगा? What will be the internal public's impact that okay, look, we have to now sell our territory to Chinese to get over our loans? So Pakistan military is the most incompetent organization today, trying to bail out from economy by selling its own land, giving its air seaport to China. Your,
yeah.
your
So
quick comment on this?
yes, sir. First thing is, how will India react? India is going to react as vehemently as it has done in the past when the original small part of
Yeah,
POK Gilgit-Baltistan was ceded.
Shaksgam.
Yeah, Saxgam region was ceded. So what will India do? Is there any possibility for India to integrate POK Gilgit-Baltistan back with India at some point in time? It entirely depends on the reaction of the population to the ceding, the larger territory ceding by Pakistan to China. What will be the reaction of the local population there? Because essentially, the Muslim population, how will it react? So that is a big question that we have.
Okay.
If there is opposition to the Chinese takeover of the territory, then India has that foothold sort of a scenario where India could intervene. So that is one possibility. The other possibility is again there is I don't see a war kind of a scenario with China on the question of POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. So that is not going to work out any solution at all. So essentially, India will also be in a big dilemma when that happens because essentially what has happened is that we are going to be facing a larger enemy in a territory which is ours, where already a foreign force is an occupant there, and now you
Correct.
find a larger enemy force occupying the territory, and so it all essentially boils down to how the local population will react, and will
Okay.
that give us a window of opportunity. So essentially, the ball is ultimately in the goal in the on the side of the population there. So we have to wait and see how it pans out and how people locally react to that Chinese takeover. So
It's a
second
very,
question,
yeah,
yes, sir.
yes. Go ahead. I mean, coming to the first part only,
Yeah,
it is something which the Pakistanis may do it just to divert the attention of the world from its own problems and invite aid, invite help as far as it is concerned, because it may lead to a conflagration between China, India, and
and in India,
Pakistan, India and Pakistan, and whether India reacts to this kind of a maneuver which पाकिस्तान में भी डूइंग इट, ये बहुत ही खतरनाक सिचुएशन हो गई है। अगर ऐसा हो जाता है तो हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ी चिंता की बात हो जाएगी कि हम उस पे किस तरह से रिएक्ट करेंगे। आपने बोला कि अगर गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान की पब्लिक, इफ दैट पब्लिक इज लिटिल supportive of any kind of intervention by India, then possibly yes, we may do certain actions there, but the time would not be really right at this point where India
yes,
is
sir.
trying to
I- I-
go up.
In
Yeah.
fact, that is where I was coming to next. Actually, one thing is this would not happen all of a sudden. The ceding of territory, PUK Gilgit-Baltistan to China would not happen all of a sudden. So you will have proper indicators for it to
Okay.
happen. You will find Chinese military personnel moving in large numbers. So all
Mhm.
that kind of an indication will happen because when the talks for that seeding happens, I'm sure the Chinese are going to do some preemptive action within Gilgit-Baltistan before the announcement of takeover happens. So India needs to be watching out for those indicators. Even if such a thing happens, probably uh, we need to take some preemptive action at some point in time. So that is also a scenario that we have to watch out for, even before the actual announcement happens. So
Okay.
these are some of the likely developments there. So, and secondly, how will Pakistan's population react to such a thing? Then
Yes, that's the
the credibility of both the civilian government and the Pakistani army will collapse. So essentially, that will happen, and that could lead to the dismemberment of Pakistan itself into multiple territories. So there is already a simmering discontent in various places, including
absolutely
Balochistan and even including Sindh, where there are
correct.
some discontentment. And
Correct.
essentially, leaving out Punjab, all other regions inside
Well,
Pakistan, there is simmering discontent. So
yeah.
let us boil down to that. So that could lead to a dismemberment of Pakistan ultimately, because if this happens, then every other force which is working for a separation from Pakistan will
Will
be
become
emboldened to further their agenda, further their freedom movement in a much larger manner. So this is a likely scenario, and of course, I mentioned credibility of both civilian and the government and the Pakistan army will be completely demolished. When that happens, probably there will be a scenario when I mean it's a long thought. It's essentially a the
It's
nation,
one of the possibility, one of the scenario building which we have
one of the
done.
scenarios where
Yeah,
Pakistan
but it's the
itself,
most, but it's the most
Pakistan
dangerous
itself will
scenario
not,
as far as we are concerned.
yeah. So that itself will not exist if such a scenario happens. So alternatively, what could happen is that you will find another military regime taking over Pakistan. There won't be a civilian regime after that. So that
Okay,
is also another scenario that will build up. So
okay,
these are a couple of possibilities within Pakistan.
correct.
So for China, what happens as far as China is concerned? If India is not able to do any preemptive action and stop it or anything of the sort, then they get a as they call it as a strategic depth that they acquire. They also are able to trouble us from other regions along the border. In the western border, also they will be able to trouble us in some manner. So the two front scenario is always there, but more than the two front scenario, uh, this
This
is
would be this would be in fact worse than two. It would be convergence of the two
exactly. That
into
is
this.
what I'm indicating, that it will be much more than the two front scenario that we have been always envisaging. So
si- uh, since you have now given my fertile mind such an idea, I want to take it forward because this discussion at this particular scenario needs to be taken to its culmination. इसको इसके अंत तक ले जाना है. तो अब इसमें अमेरिका भी कूदेगा. इस ऐसी अगर कोई सिचुएशन होती है तो अमेरिका भी कूदेगा. तो अमेरिका का क्या स्टांस होगा? क्या वो हैंड्स ऑफ रहेगा? क्या वो प्रो पाकिस्तान रहेगा? क्या वो प्रो इंडिया रहेगा? या फिर वो मीडिएट करके इसको रफा दफा करने और इट विल ट्राई टू समहाउ रिजॉल्व द इशू एंड नॉट लेट द एंटायर सिनेरियो गो अहेड into a massive confrontation between three states. Your
yes,
views
sir.
on this now?
Absolutely, sir. इसमें I mean, I see three scenarios emerging. One, there is no problem within Pakistan, but
Hmm.
in the sense there is no population troubling Pakistan's government or Pakistan or the army, but China has taken over the land. If in such a scenario, the Americans are going to make a hell lot of noise on this aspect, siding with India. That is a sure shot uh,
Okay.
situation. So
Okay.
the second situation is when there is discontent within
Pakistan
Pakistan and different territories are completely
dismembered.
winding up, dismemberment is happening. When
Mhm.
such a scenario, in all probability, again, the US would side with India on this, but essentially will try to save Pakistan as a territory because
Okay.
it has interest in keeping Pakistan alive. So
Correct.
they will try to intervene in some manner. And
Mhm.
if there is a military confrontation that happens essentially because of this scenario that we have built up, then
Mhm.
most probably they will try to stop any sort of a war happening along the borders here, because it will
Oh,
be the third or the fourth headache that they get at this point in time, apart from what is happening in Ukraine and West Asia and all that. So,
correct.
yeah, so I don't know when this will happen. I won't be able to stargaze into when this likely scenario will happen. But if it
Okay.
happens today, then US already has its hands full. It will be very difficult for the US to take a, intervene militarily or even, make a, noise out of it or anything of the sort. But so essentially, I believe the US 75% of the time will side with India on this front if China, because China is involved, not if, because China is involved in the matter,
Mhm.
they will side with India. So that is what these are the three scenarios that I look at
So,
as far as the
so,
US role is concerned.
so this CPEC, to me, it appears. In fact, I'm going through your article and then trying to create this scenario because it's got me tickling. So I thought, let me just go ahead. For the audience, there was a beautiful article written by Mr. Bipindra in the Eurasian Time. He's the editor of Eurasian Time. Please read this article. The title of the article is the title of the article is Pakistan's Economic Crisis: How China's Vicious Debt Trap under 25 billion CPEC loan has ruined its economy. I am now saying, going beyond this, with the kind of discussion, see, when we have two, three minds discussing, scenarios have emerged which are going to not only ruin Pakistan, it may impact regionally and globally, and which may have a impact on the overall international relations, and the geopolitical global order may get affected should this thing continue टू इट्स लॉजिकल कंक्लूजन, बिकॉज इस समय पाकिस्तान के पास बिल्कुल हैसियत नहीं है उसको अपने आप अपने अपने बाय इट्स ओन एफर्ट्स टू लिव. It has to depend on loans, on grants, and for how long? As we all know, sir, they have had 25, I think 25 times they have taken loans from IMF, and China se to they have been grabbing it along for ages, since they have become the iron brothers, higher than the
Yeah.
Himalayas, deeper than the sea, oceans, etc. So there is going to be a very serious problem in this region, and India will willy-nilly get involved into it, and we need to be now careful of this particular aspect. Sir, last question before we go into the audience, because we will cut it short today, keep it around 30 or 35, 45 minutes, so that audience gets, the video doesn't go too long. Last question to you is that you have said that at the global level, now this is related to China, at the global level, China is having almost 13,000 projects of BRI.
Yeah.
And in this, almost $385 billion of the Chinese are already committed. They have
Yeah.
now put it on the ground. While from Pakistan, ये लोग border ले लेंगे on lease, or they may try to get some territories on the lease, or they may also get some assets in Karachi port as part of their operations and logistics, etc. उनका, it could become a military base for China. All those options are available for China. But what about the other countries? They have really nothing to offer. They will just say, we don't know, we can't pay, we don't have the capability to repay you back. So do you see China economy going down further because of they call it as bad debts, जो बैंक वाले बोलते हैं ना कि bad debt हो गया जी, non performing assets हो गए, they have given these loans, but they are non performing. So how do you see now China in the next 5 to 6 years, given its already worsening economic condition? Last question, and then we will take on the audience.
Absolutely, sir. This was something that I think Beach May alluded to, or maybe I didn't. I missed out. There was some question or the other, and I missed it out. But it
Yeah.
did come to me that I should tell you this. So
Yeah.
this bad debts that will be created,
Uh-huh.
it is going to affect and impact the Chinese economy much worse than even Pakistan economy. So that is
Okay.
the scenario that I see.
Okay.
I'm sure you are aware of the kind of assets that the China has been acquiring. In fact, a lot of ports uh,
Hmm.
globally it has been acquiring, trying to create a maritime presence everywhere. So
Yes.
Djibouti is their first base, and now they are going to get another base.
In
In the Southeast Asia, and similarly, they're going to be creating more
yes.
bases. They've already started acquiring bases in almost all continents, especially the South American continent and African continent. These are all target areas that they've started acquiring. So, if
We
if
can't.
if the nation, pardon, sir,
I
you're
said we
asking,
can't. We can't rule out even Male.
pardon, sir, we
We
cannot rule
can't.
out.
We can't even rule out
Maldives.
Maldives.
Maldives, yeah, we can't rule that out. We can't rule that out now that the new government has taken over, which is totally
Correct.
antagonized to India completely. So that is also a possibility. We may have somebody right at our doorstep very soon. That is also a possibility. But what I'm saying is, countries which are in debt to China, if they are able to offer these kind of infrastructure that is strategically very important to China, then they will take over those projects
Mhm.
under their control. That is one option that they have. But essentially, to run those projects will also require a lot of investment. So, what are they going to do about that? That is,
Absolutely.
yeah, that is a question that will come when we cross the bridge there. So, but
Correct.
essentially, yeah. So, if the debt are non-returnable, then the Chinese economy is doomed at this point in time because they already have suffered a lot of problems. I think हिंदी में भी कहावत है जितने पानी में जितना डीप है वो एक बार चेक करना पड़ेगा बिफोर यू एंटर इनटू दैट वाटर आई डोंट नो हाउ दे से इट इन हिंदी बट
हिंदी में हिंदी में एक और कहावत है कि जितनी चादर है उतना ही पैर फैलाओ। चाइना के लिए लगता है कि उनका चादर छोटा पड़ जाएगा और पैर लंबा हो जाएगा। So they
करेक्ट
will have assets, but where is the money? No domestic market
या
with China.
तो
The
या
biggest
तो
domestic market is India. India से उन्होंने दुश्मनी कर ली है। कहाँ जाएंगे वो?
या तो चाइना जितनी पानी में है वो जल्दी ही पता चल जाएगा मतलब इन ट्रू सेंस इन
Correct.
ऑल्सो लिटरल सेंस जितने पानी में है इन हाउ डीप इन वाटर आर दे दैट वी विल गेट टू नो वेरी सून इट्स जस्ट अ मैटर ऑफ few years and
Absolutely.
the chance of recovery after that is really
Right.
zero. That's what 2030 is where I see a cutoff.
Okay.
By then, it will be a horrible situation for China as far as their economy is concerned. So after that, it is only doom. I think I would leave it at that.
Absolutely, sir. I thank you very much. I think it was a very good, short, quick discussion of 30 odd minutes. What has emerged from this particular discussion, which has come out very clearly, is that पाकिस्तान की जो इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस हैं इस समय इतनी बुरी हैं कि उसके पास अब इंटरेस्ट सर्विसिंग के लिए भी पैसे नहीं है और बाद में उसको खुद को सरवाइव करने के लिए इट रिक्वायर्स डोनेशंस नाउ आई वोंट से ग्रांट्स आल्सो अब उसको डोनेशंस की जरूरत है और उसका एक ही सहारा है मिडिल ईस्ट। अब मिडिल ईस्ट से कितने डोनेशंस मिलती है? आई डोंट थिंक अमेरिका इज इन अ पोजीशन टू गिव डोनेशंस। इफ इट गिव्स इट विल गिव ओनली इन ग्रांट्स एंड ग्रांट्स विल रियली नॉट हेल्प एट दिस स्टेज फॉर पाकिस्तान। चाइना जैसा कि आपने बोला है धीरे धीरे इट इज शिफ्टिंग टुवर्ड्स अफगानिस्तान। इट इज नॉट रियली keen to now invest in Pakistan because it feels that Pakistan has given whatever it had to give to China. It is no more of any value to China. So this situation can lead to a very dangerous situation, which Mr. Bipindra highlighted, which could be that if something he sees in Gilgit-Baltistan, that will be a triangular conflagration between India, China, and Pakistan, which may lead to international upheavals. Uh, Geopolitical equations will start getting rewind or reworked as it is happening after Ukraine and the Gaza conflict. So, with that, we will again request all our viewers ki please like, subscribe to our channel. We have our QR code also on this channel, so you can contribute so that we can give you some quality discussion. We can get some staff to actually look at our technical issues, technical problems. As of now, we handle it ourselves. Over to the questions of the audience. So the first question from the audience, which is that is from yes, Brigadier Sivendra Singh has asked a question. Is a bankrupt and failed Pakistan in the interest of USA? If not, can oblique will USA bail it out? Is it in the interest of India? Repercussions. So he has two questions basically, one about US and the second is what is going to be the impact on India.
Yeah, I
Shall
think
we-
we partially handled this question in our discussion.
Yeah, we
So
had done it.
we had done it. So in fact, is it in US's interest? Definitely not. They have a lot of strategic interest in Pakistan. Even though Trump had been blowing very hot at Pakistan for a long while, under the Democrat regime, they are much more what do you call it as lenient towards Pakistan, I would say.
Correct.
But essentially, it was not in the interest of US for a failed or a bankrupt Pakistan. So they have helped them in the IMF in the recent loan that was given to them.
Yes.
The US has helped out, so they will try to help out. But my
Hmm.
question is, how much can US help? How much
Correct.
of external help can enable Pakistan to survive? So this is a big question. Unless they, do their own, rectification of their situation, the internal, uh, effort has to be put in by Pakistan government. Only then, either it is a military regime or a civilian regime, they have to put in their efforts. So only that is the only possibility I see. US cannot be perennially supporting Pakistan or funding Pakistan or helping them get grants from or loans from other international agencies. So that
And
is where the
and I
problem lies.
think and I think the nuclear bogey which they keep raising every time, the nuclear weapons safety security, the US might do something to ensure that those things are safe, and not really dole away its money. They are themselves in,
Essentially,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. As far as the nuclear question is concerned, that bogey will always Pakistan will raise that bogey, but
Mm.
I'm sure US will intervene on that point alone to safeguard the nuclear installations and the nuclear
Correct.
equipment that they have. So that part, I think, if Pakistan is collapsing, then the US will only interest will be the nuclear
Yeah.
question. So that is the only interest that they would have.
Mm.
Then the other, what is it in India's interest? Certainly, it is not in India's interest. I would say, for the simple reason that it will create a lot of headaches for us on multiple fronts.
Correct.
So it could cause a lot of, first and foremost, a lot of influx of refugees into India. That is one. So that is a big headache that we may have to face. The second question will be of terrorist groups,
Absolutely.
increasing more attacks on India, more chaos within Pakistan will lead
Correct.
to more such forces emerging. So a lot of unemployable youth will be joining them, those forces. So it is more headache for us on non-state actor front. Essentially, the state actor front would have diminished if bankrupt or failed Pakistan happens. Uh, but essentially, we'll have problem in those fronts. And also, if that scenario happens, the Pakistan army might start getting belligerent, more belligerent, and all the border clashes along LAC and IB, all that will happen, and maybe they will even initiate a war. That is also a possibility.
Yeah,
So
that's a very much a possibility, and irrationality तो पाकिस्तान के हिस्ट्री और जीन्स में है.
it is their middle name, no?
It's in the middle name. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
So
Let's
yeah, so
let's go to the next question. Next question is it true? This is from Indus International Research Foundation. Is it true that of Pak total external debt is 94% of the GDP in 2020, of which only 15% belongs to China? Then why only blame China for its debt conditions?
no, I think I mentioned it. It's about one fourth of the all debt, external debt of Pakistan is coming from
Yeah,
China.
it's
So
about 125-45 billion is of China.
yeah, that is of China. So what I mean to say is that it is from one country, it's a considerable amount. So
Yeah, absolutely
so it is also a problem for Pakistan. It's also a problem for China. So let us understand on both the fronts there is a
correct.
problem. So you are overtly dependent on one country for your large part of your
Uh,
debt,
debts.
and yeah, 25% is a considerable number. Let us not discount it at all. So why blame China? I mean, we have to blame China. It has been doing this debt trap diplomacy everywhere. It's not just in Sri Lanka or in Pakistan. Everywhere it's been doing that,
I
and
think
it's visible
बिल्कुल
everywhere.
सही. चाइना को हम शाइलॉक से कंपेयर कर सकते हैं.
We can compare China with Shylock, yes. Pound of
वो
flesh.
वो पाउंड ऑफ इंटरेस्ट लेता है. वो 1% का इंटरेस्ट 2% का इंटरेस्ट नहीं लेता जिस तरह आईएमएफ करता है. ये तो 7% का इंटरेस्ट ले रहा है. आई मीन इंडिया के जो कमर्शियल हमारे लोन्स होते हैं वो 7-8% में घर के मिल जाते हैं. This is outrageous where amounts are in billions of dollars.
So domestic home loans are I mean, not just home loans, commercial loans are also a different ball altogether.
Yeah.
We're talking about international loans, right? So international
I,
loans
I,
may
I'm just comparing.
7%. Yeah, exactly. I mean, 7%. I'm only read. I'm actually reiterating what you said
Yeah,
by pointing out that the commercial international rate 7% is probably the highest.
highest. I mean, at least that is, there's no doubt on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
we'll go to the next question, sir. I think ask Asim Munir had gone to Baku a few weeks ago to strengthen Pak-Azerbaijan partnership. Is he going to retire there? that's a, that's a question
that's
which
a
he has
very
asked.
that's a very funny question. So
Yeah, what kind of partnership will Azerbaijan give?
yeah, I mean, if Asim Munir decides to settle there in Azerbaijan, who can stop him from doing that? So, in
Correct,
fact, there
correct.
are a lot of other army chiefs who have gone out and settled abroad. So, it's not a surprise thing at all. But
You
only
see,
thing is,
पाकिस्तान मेरे ख्याल से ना अब वो
uh,
रॉन्ग पेड़ पे चढ़ गया. इट्स गॉन ऑन द रॉन्ग हॉर्स. टर्की इट्स इन अ बैड स्टेट इकोनॉमिकली. इट्स hobnobbing with Turkey. China's economy is also in a bad state. Then it is trying to get something from Azerbaijan. I think I can't even imagine what Azerbaijan will offer other than some technological drones, etc., which they have taken from Turkey. And for that also, they don't require to go there, except for the fact that both are Muslim countries. I think it would have been more of a routine visit there.
essentially, like, if the Indian Army chief visits Nepal,
Hmm.
so Nepal doesn't really have much to offer in terms of.
Or
Essentially, it's a goodwill visit.
it could also be to sell old weapons of Pakistan, which
Pakistan to
Azerbaijan, to get
correct.
some money from them.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
next one,
essentially to do defense trade.
absolutely defense trade. Uh, Akhilendra Kumar Singh, will Pakistan with Western, more so US support, renege on Chinese debt and make way for other debt trapped African nations to follow suit? What could China do? He's trying to say basically dominoes effect.
Hmm.
पाकिस्तान मना कर देगा, बाकी सब मना कर देंगे, China will be into a corner.
I think we sort of
Once
the
and again,
domino effect will be there if Pakistan reneges on its
hmm,
debt returning of the money. If they do that, then it will have a domino effect in all other countries where China has invested under the
correct.
BRI project. One, but essentially, will US come to the support of Pakistan in doing that? I think Pakistan themselves will not be ready to do that because they need China more than the US in this region. So their primary enemy number one is India. So to US is already on the side of India. So the only nation that they can rely on right now to contain India is China. So Pakistan themselves will not do that.
Okay. Samrat Ashok Patliputra Bihar, is the US Congress seeking to halt the MQ-9 Reaper drone deal between India and the US, potentially extending to blocking the GF404 engine deal amidst growing tension between the two nations? Here is referring to the the Gurpatwant Singh Pannu's case where they have
Yeah. Okay.
kind of
No.
warned India that they should not interfere into American citizens' life, etc., or some such thing. It was yesterday's news,
Yeah.
and
Yesterday's news.
also the
I'm following that.
Five Eyes controversy, tacit support to Canada on Niger. All those things, I think they are taking it as
No, uh, sir, I believe that these issues are only pinpricks. These are not going to,
okay.
take the shape of that enormity, which
Hmm.
will disrupt India's relationship with the Western world. So it's not such a big issue. It's not such a big controversy because it's not. I mean, India has not done it in the first thing. Number two, it is quite possible. I mean, it's also a reality that several other nations,
Hmm.
including the US, has taken out people in foreign shows. So
Okay.
it's not such a big deal. Though India has not done it, India has always stated that they've never done it. Uh, even if India had done it, let us give that, without prejudicing India's position.
Okay.
Even if India had done it, this is not going to be a big deal that will uh, derail the growing relationship between India and the Western nations, particularly the US.
Okay. Next question, quick question, and I think we'll be thereafter calling it off. Is acquiring bases is one issue, but maintainability from mainland is a question mark. Uh,
Yeah, I think we dealt with it in the session itself when I said that running the projects post taking over is
will
also needs investment, and where
correct.
will they find that money? So we did deal with that.
If China can acquire land in lieu of loans, other nations can also do so to bail it out. Nuclear fallouts into terrorists. Again, this also we have discussed this particular issue.
Yeah, but
Let,
there is one thing that I think we need to address here.
yeah,
See, acquiring land by China is a different ballgame than, say, America coming and saying that I want to take your land, take over your land in Pakistan.
correct.
Okay, there is a political dimension to it. There, I mean, domestic political dimension to it. There is also a international geopolitical dimension to it. So that is an entirely different ballgame. That won't happen. Only in the case of China, the takeover possibility is there.
Okay. Next question which we have is, in fact, uh, this is from, yeah, Jawaharlal Bansal. If China is successful in joining BRICS, is it bad for India? And if China is successful in joining, China is already part of the BRICS. I think this is just a, yeah. He what he probably meant was,
Probably is Pakistan. It
yeah, if
probably
it's
meant Pakistan because
China is the,
Pakistan membership
but
is what being pushed by
by
Russia and
China,
China at this point in time.
yeah.
In
So
fact, there are BRICS. There are a lot of countries have joined in the last summit that happened. So
hmm,
the BRICS is expanding. Like
hmm.
for example, Pakistan has joined SCO,
Now
Shanghai
that
Cooperation Organization. So it has joined other groupings also. So Pakistan will be one of the 10th or 11th player in the team, or maybe the 12th man of the team. So I mean, in cricketing terms, the 12th man is the one who brings in drinks and snacks to the players who are playing, the 11 who are playing. So
hmm.
Pakistan will be like the 12th man in cricket as far as BRICS is concerned. So there is nothing much to worry. It is a headache. It's a headache for the simple reason that they will come and raise Kashmir issue there. That apart, they have no other, except for the nuisance value, there is no other
साइड
value that
साइड शो
Pakistan
करेंगे,
sees. Correct.
साइड
Side
शो
show
करेंगे.
करेंगे.
But एक issue है sir, I don't know whether I'm correct or not, but I believe to make somebody a member of BRICS, all the permanent five, now in this case the founder members have to agree to
Agree. Yes.
introduce Pakistan into it, and if India
That
doesn't
is
agree, then I don't think this is a non-starter right from the beginning.
exactly. It's a non-starter right from the beginning. It's just like the China putting the spokes for India's NSD membership
Correct.
or India's membership to the UNSC as a permanent member. So it is like that. So
Okay.
the consensus decision has to be there. So India may not provide its consent, but that apart, even if India consents, what I mean to say is they will be the 12th player, insignificant 12th player in the team. So that's fine.
about about that pani wala thing, there's a good reminder, I mean good recollection of that. हम तो डूबेंगे सनम, तुमको भी ले डूबेंगे. This has become the condition of Pakistan, and because of evil eyes towards Bharat. So this is just to say that, the saying कि both are sinking together,
Yeah,
which is good for India in any case. And the last question, and we call it off. Ask sir, can opium money survive Pakistan economy? This is self-explanatory. It can't. It will go
it
into the
can't
black.
actually.
It
Yeah,
will go into the black market. I mean, so-called
it,
black economy.
it is
Black
not
economy.
formal economy, so there is a problem there.
So thank you very much, sir. I think we had a very nice discussion, short, quick, but still it went on for 50 minutes. Thank you, audience. Again, once again, please like, subscribe, watch our channel, share it with your friends, make it as go as far wide as possible. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind, Jai
So
Bharat.
Jain sir, it's a pleasure being on your show every time. Everybody, please subscribe and press the bell icon, and also look at the QR code and
Correct.
contribute to Strive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.